Hey guys, welcome to the One Wolf podcast. Today we have a really great episode coming up. I got Rob here. I want to introduce him. Rob is the owner of the Hills Nutrition. He also does Bible study. He also has a fit camp too, right? Why don't you tell us a little bit about that, Rob?
Oh man. Okay, so Healthy Cafe. We help people with nutrition. We tie in a healthy, active lifestyle. So we have two fit camps. We do fit camps twice a week.
Okay.
We help people with nutrition, fitness, different things like that. Just a way to kind of get people rocking and rolling with their goals.
With their fitness, kind of helping them out to get to that next level in fitness and stuff.
Yep.
Okay. Well, that's great. Awesome. Where's the location if you want to let them know here?
So we're on 8839 Culebra Road, Suite 105. We're right on the intersection of Westover Hills and Culebra. It's a sign that says the Hills, but we're called Westover Hills Nutrition.
And you'll see us sipping. I got a protein shake, and Rob's got an energy tea.
Yeah.
Whenever I need to get an energy tea before my workouts, I'll always come over here and grab an energy tea. So good spot. You guys got to check it out. Now, getting into the good stuff, right? We're getting into today's episode and what we're actually talking about. We're talking about the miracles of God. And this all started with a post that you put on Facebook. You want to let us know what that post was?
Yeah, so maybe about 2 weeks ago, I put up a post that said that you have to make room and get prepared for what God has for your life.
Right.
Have to make room so that way you can show up and you're showing him that you're serious about what you're praying for or whatever it is that you're seeking so that he can fulfill it instead of just sitting around hoping.
Yeah. And that's great. I mean, like I said, I love that quote. I've gone through that before, relationship-wise, where I've been in a relationship and I just felt like God was just telling me, let it go, let it go, let it go, let it go. And as soon as and things were really tight at the time, this has actually happened a few times. And once I let it go, it was like all these blessings just poured upon me, and I feel like, God is waiting for you to cut your own grass, so to speak. And then he's going to go ahead and it's a tough decision, especially with relationships, getting over relationships or letting somebody go, whether it's a friendship or being married or whatever it is, But tell us about maybe some of the miracles that you actually have experienced. Because I know that before we came in here, you were telling me about quite a bit of them, and I love them. I would love for everybody to hear.
Oh, man. Do we got 15 minutes
for
one story? You know what? I'll share with you guys. This is a personal testimony for me. It has a lot to do with this place here. So back in 2019, I woke up one day and I felt drained. I just felt so tired. I was not just tired like I'm sleepy, but exhausted and felt like I was going in circles in my life. And I remember I'm in the shower and it's just like that quiet time with God where I'm able to just be one. And I just remember speaking out loud and I said, God, there's three things I need answers to. I need answers about my house, my business at the time, and a relationship I was involved in. And I said, dude, I'm exhausted and I'm tired of trying to do things my way.
Yeah.
So I need to hear from you. Well, that morning, so that was about 7:00 in the morning. By 9-ish, I had a gym. And so I had like the nutrition in the front, but on the backside, I had a weight room. And I was about to work out one of my pastors, and he walks in and I'm writing the workout out and he's behind me and he says, God talked to me about you this morning. And I'm like, go. And he says, you're holding on to something that was once a blessing and it's not a blessing anymore. So as he's talking to me, I start having a moment where I'm going, what am I holding on to? What am I holding on to? It's like repeating in my head. And I hear as clear as day, God said, your house. He had told me, this was the third time in a year he had told me to rent out my house.
Sure.
And it's one of these situations where my business was making money, but my overhead was high, my mortgage is high, my bills are high, and I'm doing all this stuff and it's just not happening. It's not making sense.
Right.
And
you're kind of stuck.
Yes.
You felt like you were kind of stuck.
Yeah. Okay. It's one of these real moments where you're asking God for guidance in life. You're like, dude, what do I do? And he gives you an answer and you're really not. Like, as an example, a year prior, I'm asking the same questions, and God sent a friend from Virginia who he had just graduated with his discipleship degree.
Okay.
He comes to my workout, and after the workout, we're catching up, and he's like, hey, what's been going on? And so I'm telling him what's going on with my life, and he goes, bro, I've been praying, and I don't know why, but I feel like God's telling me to rent out your house.
Wow.
And I hadn't even told him anything about my house.
Yeah.
But then it's a coincidence,
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah. You always think that,
we don't
right?
act on it, right? And so the second time was a moment with me and my dad where I went to my dad for advice, and my dad did what a father was supposed to do, and he gave me right advice, but he kind of helped me out momentarily with my bills. He gave me some money.
Sure.
And so I
Sure.
started making some progress. And so, long story short, God kept putting these moments in front of me where he was like, rent or
Yeah.
rent your home,
That's what
get
you
out of
need
your
to
home.
do.
Yeah, cut
Yeah.
your bills back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was dragging my feet, and I
Oh,
would have like a good
man.
month in my business, and I'm like, oh, I got this. And I think that's some pride, not wanting to
Sure.
let it go. And
Sure.
so
Sure.
here I am. This was like from April to January. In January, here I am in my gym, and he's like, this is the third time I'm telling you. So
Yeah.
check this out. So I said, all right, enough is enough. And the pastor continued telling me I was about to go through an interesting season of my life. He told me specifically I was going to go through a pruning season,
Okay.
and I need to look up a couple scriptures and understand
Sure.
that there's a time in life. There's a time for everything. There's ups and downs. There's
Right,
there's
right,
winters. There's falls.
right,
There's
right.
springs. So I instantly put my house on the market. I reached out to my buddy who I used to work in banking, and
Okay.
I hit up my buddy who became a realtor, and I said, hey man, help me get this thing going.
Sure.
My thing was I heard specifically rent your home, and if me dragging my feet is what was putting me in that bad position, let me stop dragging my feet.
Sure.
So I remember the day that my house was becoming available to be viewed.
Sure.
I woke up, same thing in the morning. I'm in the shower, and I'm like, God, let this go quick. I want this. I'm doing what you said, dude. The house was available at 5 p.m. At 5:04, it was under contract.
Wow.
And it was like the right contract.
Wow.
And then the people coming in were like pretty much pushing me out of my house.
Sure.
And I needed the money. So it's like the quicker I get out of the
Yeah,
house,
yeah,
the quicker
yeah,
I'm
get
making
the
money,
money,
And so like it's these moments where, to fast forward, I said, all right, God, there's still two things left. And he removed the relationship,
Right.
which was a godsend.
Right.
And it makes sense at the time. And then this started coming into pass. And
Sure.
so signed the lease for this place.
Yeah.
That was a journey in itself. And it led to like an 8-month process of just trying to get the place open,
Right.
dealing with finances, relationships. But I guess to summarize it, because otherwise it's going to be a 3-hour conversation about this one thing. It was a moment of tired of the metaphor I'll give is tired of going around the mountain.
Yeah, exactly.
Just
no, I get that.
Ring
I get
around
that.
the rosy and nothing changing. And you hear
Right.
the famous phrase about going crazy is doing the same thing over and over
Yeah,
again
expecting a
and
different
expecting a
result.
different
Yeah,
result.
exactly.
So my thing was I'm praying and I heard a clear as day answer. Let me move on it. And what's awesome is this business ended up opening up. I let my other business go. I opened
Sure.
up this one. And that season that I went in of pruning, it's like you get chopped down to like your bare minimum,
Right.
so that you can spring a new life. And this
I
was
love
the
that,
biggest,
dude.
this was the
I
biggest
love that.
blessing, man.
I
Yeah.
love that. I
Yeah.
love that. That's great. Yeah, I think a lot of times too, we're too busy trying to do things our way, and we're not trying to do things God's way. And God's way is so magnificent. So it's so much better than our ways. You know what I'm saying? So that's a great story. We're gonna take a break just real quick, and then we'll come back with some more stories. Yeah.
Cool.
All right, guys, welcome back to the One Wolf Podcast. Again, I'm here again with Rob from the Hills Nutrition. So Rob just got finished telling us a great story and example on God's miracles and basically God's direction for, doing things and doing it his way and trusting in him, right? I think
Yep.
that's probably one of the most important things I know that I have trouble with too, is trusting. Like, it doesn't seem like it's going to be, something in the natural that we see, but it ends up being something supernatural.
Yep.
I have a pretty great story. I have I call him my guardian angel. He's a home builder. So you guys know that I'm into building homes and doing all that stuff. He's like my mentor, but it's really crazy because one of my cars that I had was dying out. Right. And I didn't know how bad the severity of it was. Well, I ended up having breakfast with him, at one point, and he's a very devout Christian, very, very, doesn't drink. He's got a whole past too. And he came up and he's just really all about Christ, all about God. And I love sitting with him and talking with him, just like I do with you, man. We can sit and actually talk about God, talk about the miracles of God, talk about all that. And I was just telling him, oh, well, my tires are messed up. The alignment on it is messed up and my radiator's leaking a little bit, and he's like, oh, okay. And he goes, well, follow me to the house. And so I followed him to the house that he was selling. And then we get over there and there's this white Nissan Sentra, really nice looking, like 2014. And I'm like, oh, cool. And he gives me the keys and says, well, drive it. And I'm like, okay. So like I drive it and I'm driving it. And I'm like, oh, okay. I go back and I'm like, oh yeah, it's cool. It's a nice car. And he goes, okay, it's yours. And I'm like, it's mine. And he's like, yeah, it's yours. And I'm like, what do you mean? And he goes, well, God is speaking to me, telling me that
Mm.
He wants for you to have a car.
Mm.
And I'm like, no, 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 no,
Yeah.
I can't take this. Come
Yeah.
on,
Yeah.
like what? And he goes, he just kind of sat there quiet. And I started thinking about it. I'm like, man, well, it's the only car I have over there, and it's crashing out. It's like already like, and it's a Mercedes,
Yeah.
so it's going to be expensive to fix. It's an older Mercedes. So I'm like, okay, all right, I will, but I'll pay you back, brother. I'll pay you back. And he's like, no, God wants me to tell you that He wants you to have it. So long story short, I'm like, well, I'm gonna get the Mercedes looked at just to kind of see what's really going on with it. So I had the white car. White car is great, running great, perfect, everything's good. I get the Mercedes looked at, and it just so happens that the Mercedes had been dying out every now and then on me. Like as I was driving, it would just crap out, like just totally turn off. So the timing belt on it is like screwed up, and all the electronic stuff. So it's gonna end up being like a buttload of money to fix it.
Yeah.
So God knew, like, I don't want you going through these problems with this car, so I'm gonna give you this. I'm gonna give you this car. Like,
Yep.
what a miracle! You know what I'm
Dude.
saying, and, dude?
It reminds me of, there's a book I read by Robert Morris. It's called The Blessed Life. And
Okay.
in the first chapter, or the very beginning of the book, Robert Morris, he's a well-known pastor in Dallas.
Sure.
And so he's traveling at the time, and he's in the middle of nowhere, and he stops to get gas. And he walks in, and the lady at the gas station, or he goes in to go pay for the gas, and she goes, "It's already taken care of." He's like, "No, like, here you go."
Yeah.
She goes, "No, it's already taken care of." And he kind of goes, "What are you talking about? I don't know you. How is it taken care of?" And she says, "God told me that you were going to come over here, and you were going to do these things."
Wow.
And so, or you were on your way, and to pay for the pastor that was going to stop. And I think she asked, "Are you a pastor?" He goes, "Yeah, I'm actually driving to my next speaking arrangement."
Wow.
Ends up getting into this whole story. The whole purpose of the book is about understanding giving, financially giving, tithing, these different things.
Sure.
So he ends up, I'll cut the story short. He ends up on this journey where God is showing him, he blesses him financially.
Sure.
And he ends up just giving away things. So kind of similar, like he has a part in the story where he gives away cars. He said him and his wife will get a car, and then like God would speak to him about, all right, now later on, you're going to give it to this person, and you're going to give this away, and you're going to do this. And here's what's crazy. There's a part in the book that says he literally gave everything away that they own, everything.
Wow.
That he signed over his house
Wow.
to people that needed it.
Wow.
And he said there's a part where he goes, I told myself I outgave God. I told God I outgave him. And then I don't know what kind of phone it was, but he gets a phone call. Because if he gave everything away, I'm like, he didn't have a landline. Like, did he have a cell phone? What did he have?
Right.
So he gets a phone call, and a guy goes, "Is this Mr. Morris?" He goes, "Yeah, my name is such and such." I'll give you my version of what was said.
Okay.
"I'm this billionaire, and there is a private jet that is waiting for you whenever you need it. There will be a pilot sitting there waiting for you 24 hours a day. There will be someone there for you. All you have to do is get there and fully loaded gas, take you wherever you want to go."
Right.
And he said in that moment, he heard God say, "Y'all gave me, huh?" And it's just this interesting relationship of God using him to bless people, but God taking care of you in the process. You know what I mean? So that kind of reminds me of like,
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, I think, a big part of our lives, and I feel like a big part of mine, is to be a blessing to other people. But, there's also, I've also heard it said that, yes, be a blessing to other people, obviously, but there's a point where even in the Bible, it says at some point you may have to be shrewd, at some point, in some instances,
Yeah.
Do it to an extent, but don't let people overuse you and overtake you, for giving that kindness and stuff. So, but yeah, man, that's great. And I feel like following the direction of God in these instances, you see these miracles of God, and you're not going to see them until you listen. I know I struggle, and I don't know about you, like, the thing is, when I met the guy that helped me out, my guardian angel, that I always say, he's like, "I see you, I look at you, you look fit, you work out, you go to the gym every day, don't you?" And I'm like, "Yeah, well, yeah, I do." He goes, "How many times do you read the Bible a day?" And I'm like, "I don't." He goes, "Well, you're building your muscles, you're building your strength, but you're not building your strength in your spirituality."
Yep.
So I started doing it. I'm still not at the point yet where I feel that I can hear really God talking to me, but I hear him talking to me through other people. But I definitely want to get to the point where I can actually hear him talking directly to me. And I know you have. Mm-hmm. So can you tell me a little bit about that? What do you feel has really contributed for you to being able to really like hear him, or how do you discern,
man?
I
would say, think about it like, now mind you, I'm not a parent, but I am a son.
Sure.
Think about it how you understand your parents' voice, or if you have kids and how they would know their parents' voice. Is spending time with them,
Right.
quiet time, getting in the Word, worship, praying. But a lot of people praying is a wish list. It's people. That's what we think. We're
Sure.
like, God, I need this. I'm in a mess,
Sure.
or
Sure.
bail me out, or
Sure.
whatever. And sometimes it's a matter. It's a dialogue between you and Him. But it's also, in order to have a dialogue, you got to be quiet and you got to listen.
Yeah.
So there's this quote I heard, or there's a story I heard by 50 Cent where he was talking about Bruce Willis. And one time he was at a table dinner. And when he was at this dinner, they were talking, and like Bruce Willis, and he would be like, what? And Bruce Willis would talk really, really low.
Right.
And he was like, why are you whispering?
Right.
Why are you? And he said, anybody could talk loud, but when you're whispering, you got to
Right.
get closer to actually hear what's being said.
Yeah.
I believe God is talking every day.
Sure.
How quiet are we to actually hear what's being said?
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
I love that.
And so this is kind of something, man. I would be happy to share this. So, whoever's watching, San Antonio, Texas, 2021.
Yeah.
It snows and the city shuts down.
Right.
Okay, so before it snowed, so my birthday is February 13th. The 14th is the city froze over.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Ramps were closed down and everything.
Right.
And I remember God was telling me, He's like, you need to rest. Me personally, He goes, you need to rest.
Sure.
I shut down the shop.
Sure.
I told my team, I was like, we ain't open. Don't expect me to come. I'm going home, and I'm being lazy, right? So I'm on vacation mode. It snows. I really hadn't been around snow like that.
Yeah.
So I'm enjoying it, bro. I feel
Yeah,
I feel like I'm in Colorado.
I
like,
feel you. I feel you. Oh, yeah.
have a hot
Absolutely.
tea and just it's snowing.
Yeah.
And Texas doesn't know what to do about it. They're freaking out.
Right.
So anyways, well, that Thursday, it snowed again. So it snowed Tuesday, but it snowed Thursday. But this time it snowed like all day.
Okay.
And my dad, I'm at my parents' house, and my dad's the type of person that he never wanted to stay put.
Sure.
So he likes being outdoors. He likes doing yard work.
Yeah.
We have a huge driveway. So he goes outside and he starts shoveling the snow. And I'm like, bruh. Because if I don't go do it, if I don't help him,
Right.
I'm not going to hear the end
Right.
of it. Like, I'm going to get
Oh, I
chewed
know.
out by
I know.
him and my mom.
As
you know?
a son to a father
Yes,
that's
man.
constantly working outside,
So,
I know.
and I'm throwing a fit internally
Yeah.
because I'm on vacation mode. So I go out there, and our shovel's like this wide. It's not a snow shovel. Snow shovel's right. And I'm over here just trying to get it done.
Yeah.
And my dad's trying to talk to me. He's trying to teach me what to do, and
Sure.
I want to hear it.
Yeah.
I'm in my 30s, man. Perspective
Yeah.
here. I'm not a little kid,
Yeah.
but I'm acting like it.
Right.
I feel like I'm 8 years old again, and my dad's trying to get me to do chores, and I don't want to do it.
I get that.
So I'm just trying to get this done, and I hear a whisper, bro, that says, your dad is showing you something you've never done before. You may need it in the future, and you don't know how much longer your dad's going to be here. This is in February 2021. Bro, we found out in May he had cancer. And I remember when I was in that driveway shoveling the snow and I heard you don't know how much longer he'll be here, there was a moment of like, I calmed the heck out.
Dude.
And it was such a whisper. It's not like chastising. It's not like, hey, your dad's talking to you. It was, hey, you may need this. You've never done this before.
Sure.
But your dad, you don't know how much longer. And it made me go, you know what? I need to appreciate my time with my parents.
Yeah, absolutely.
There was all these little things. Again, this would be a 3-hour conversation. This was in February, dude. And then in May, we ended up finding out eventually he had cancer. We didn't know. By the time we kind of found out, I didn't know he had 5 weeks left.
Wow.
So I was stepping into my last 5 weeks of my dad. And the thing was, God was preparing me and my family. At the time, my dad wasn't a believer. December before.
Wow.
My mom is washing my dad's feet, and they're kind of having like an intimate moment. And my mom tells me later on about it. And he said he heard a voice telling him he's not going to be here next Christmas. Wow. Now, when she tells me, it's like February or March.
Yeah.
And I'm like, where's this coming from? And I'm thinking it's two things. It's either someone's trying to mess with your head and trying to, put doubt, fear, whatever.
Right.
Or it's God giving you a heads up.
Yeah.
And then so I think it's interesting that in December, my dad hears that. In February, I hear from God saying, you don't know how much longer your dad's going to be here. Yeah. And then what's crazy is my aunt, my dad's sister, who lives in Oregon, the prior October, her husband passed away out of nowhere, had a heart attack and died. And my dad, they're like this, and he doesn't go out there to go visit her. And one day I go to him, and I said, how come you haven't gone to go see her? And he said, she told me not to. And I respect my sister. I was like, I'm going. She had been on my heart. I didn't know why.
Yeah.
So I fly out to Oregon to go see my aunt, who I haven't seen in 30 years
Yeah.
in person. We just couldn't afford to travel.
Yeah.
And I show up and I'm thinking I'm there for her. And then that first night, she starts telling me about my dad and telling me about their childhood and telling me about all these things that actually God starts talking to me. And he goes, yeah, you came here for her, but you're here for you too. And he started preparing me for things that I needed to do. And he helped me understand my dad better. So when I got home, I knew how to love on him. When I got home is when we found out he had cancer.
Yeah.
There's something about God's timing.
Sure, absolutely.
And I think if it wasn't for the relationship that I have with him, which comes through time, it comes through. I remember periods of time of not understanding. When people say they hear from God, I'm like, what does that look like?
Yeah.
Until you do.
Yeah.
And it's not like, I can't explain it, man. It's not a magical, like, it's not a genie where you're just like, God, I want to hear from you. But what I will say is if there's a genuine heart there and you spend time with him, and one of the ways you're gonna know his voice is reading his word.
Yeah.
And so many times we don't. We might just go off of like little lofty memes or things like that. You know, it sounds good.
An app or something. Yeah.
But to actually be like, let me take 30 minutes out of my day and actually just read. Even if it's something as simple as what's the verse of the day,
Sure.
or what's something I can just feed myself. You know. Yeah, man.
I love that. Yeah.
It's crazy. There's so much that started to happen, man. And I'll fast forward with this real quick. So my dad passes away in June, and he passed away, and I go through a year, at least year and a half of like mourning. And I thought I had dealt with it until I realized I hadn't dealt with it, you know? And I remember last November, December, I'm driving and I'm listening to a message by TD Jakes as I'm on my way here. And I hear like this one line. The message was about timing. And this line had nothing to do with timing, but it said, God can't take you into your next season until you let go of your old one. And bro, I almost hit my brakes. And God started speaking to me and he goes, I'm trying to take you there.
Right.
But you keep doing this.
Right.
And he showed me it started with the passing of my father, that I hadn't really dealt with it. Right. So coming into 2023, I made it like my word of the year that I was going to focus on was healing.
Sure.
And so when it comes to my father, when it comes to business partners that have left me, friendships that have left, people that were in my life, what could have been, whatever. The things that we tend to go like, well, what about?
Right.
Or, hey, I'm going this way. You should be.
Right.
And God's like, dude, we're
behind.
going here. And if they come, they come. But we're going here.
Man, I love that.
And so I think it's these moments, man, that I get passionate with talking about it because it's my story. And like, I feel like, at least with my business, it's been 8 years minimum where I feel like I've been walking hand in hand and he'll just be like, all right, we're going to go here. All right, we're going to go there. And it never fails that when I start to do like, I start to wander on my own way and do my own thing, I start going,
you're lost.
And he's like, hey.
Yeah.
And it kind of got realigned, you know? Right. So anyways, man, that. There's,
that's very deep. That's very powerful. I think a lot of our listeners can definitely relate to that, man. That's powerful, man.
I would say to give some actionable steps, I would, number one, man, buy a Bible, download the Bible app, do something so that you can start studying God's word.
Yeah.
Number two, find somebody you know that's further ahead of you in this topic.
Sure.
You know, so not everybody has access immediately to like some pastor or, you know.
Sure.
But
so, tell us about your Bible study then. You know, that way if anybody wants to come and join, are they able to, first off?
Oh, yeah. So man, I feel bad saying this. I'm gonna plug it, but like I haven't been able to go because it's the days and the times. It's just been like crazy.
Okay.
But there is a men's Bible study that I'm a part of that happens pretty much 3 Saturdays out of the month.
Okay, cool.
The address seems to change, so I mean, it's at a cafe that I don't remember the name of it, to be honest with you, but I got the address. Give them your socials, like Insta
handles.
Anybody watching this, man, feel free to message me on Instagram. It's at Rise Up Rob. That's RISEROB 24. Or you can find me on Facebook, Rob Mack. Or you can message The Hills Nutrition on Instagram, The Hills Nutrition SA. But example, this Friday, we're having a worship night here at the shop.
Okay, cool.
So that's open to anybody.
That'd be great, yeah.
The Bible studies are open to anybody. With our faith camps, I love incorporating God at the end, and we close out in prayer. We have like a close community moment. So and that's one of the reasons why I wanted this location is because I wanted to incorporate these things to some degree in my business. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, excellent. Man, so that's probably pretty much it that we have for today. I definitely want to thank you guys. And I want to also let you guys know, also that if you guys have any topics that you want for us to discuss, I'll definitely be coming back with Rob. We'll be having some more conversations. He'll be back on the show for sure.
For sure.
But if you guys have any other things that you guys want me to talk about, we with the One Wolf podcast, we empower men in the areas of business, entrepreneurship, relationships, faith, motivation, inspiration, all that good stuff. So if you guys have anything you guys want to hear on any of that information, just let us know, and you can catch Rob too. I'll tag him also on all of our socials that we have coming up for the podcast. But
Yeah,
thanks, man.
appreciate you, bro.
Appreciate you,
Thanks
man. God
having me,
bless
man.
you. Thanks, guys. We'll talk to you
Thanks,
soon.
guys.